We have to be able to talk to everyone at all times. Who wants Turkey to be the only power in the world to be part of NATO and at the same time to continue to talk to Russia? Those who do not condemn this, will they one day be able to say, look how strong Turkey is? Will they be able to say that France is not even capable of building peace? Well, that's clever. You tell us we can't talk. A diplomat's job is to talk to everyone, including and especially to those we do not agree with.
And our international affairs editor, Armin Georgian, joins us now from the Elysee Palace. Armin, we just heard there in that clip from Emmanuel Macron, he was mentioning Russia. What was his message to diplomats on that subject?
Well, he was essentially pushing back on this long-standing criticism from some of his Western allies about his continued conversations with President Putin of Russia, even though actually those contacts have dwindled in the last few weeks. But essentially he was digging his heels in, saying that France has to talk to everybody, that he has to do that, that his diplomats should continue doing that, that it's the only way forward in what he called a disintegrating global order. So he was saying essentially that as the world becomes more fragmented, more unpredictable, there's actually a greater need for multilateralism, not less need, but more need for multilateralism. And if France is going to play its role within that those multilateral efforts, then it's got to do more of essentially what President Erdogan of Turkey is doing. But what he didn't say was, what does France actually have to show for this talking to everybody? Because this is actually the big criticism of Macron in, for example, the Baltic states or part of Eastern Europe, is that all his conversations with President Putin have not produced anything tangible. That's the criticism of Macron's approach of talking to not just friends, but of governments that France doesn't get on with.
Well, Armin, the president discussed a number of international crises. Tell us about the tone of this speech, though. It wasn't all gloom and doom, was it?
Well, a lot of it was pretty dark, to be honest. I mean, you know, when he detailed all the challenges and saying this was an exceptional year, that, you know, that the Ukraine war is going to continue to have ripple effects, as we know, on electricity, on food, on prices, on migration, all kinds of knock-on effects that are just going to keep on coming. But at the same time, yes, of course, he was very complimentary towards his diplomats. He wanted to make them feel as optimistic as they could in that admittedly very tough international environment, and saying that they can be proud of what they've achieved, their work over the last 5 years. And he gave a lot of examples of that, most recently the French presidency of the European Union, France's efforts to all kinds of other areas, such as reducing the gender pay gap, making France more of a startup nation, which was one of President Macron's big goals in his first term in office. All kinds of things that he wanted to give French diplomats a reason to feel optimistic about. But I think, given that most of the speech was dealing with these very dark clouds on the horizon, there will probably be a somewhat ominous mood among the diplomatic corps nonetheless.
Okay, our international affairs editor Armin Georgian reporting for us outside the Elysee Palace. Armin, thanks a lot.